Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Mr. Sabariyanto, Magister of Education, of our special guest, and the Honorable my beloved audience. First of all, let's say thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who has been giving us guidance, happiness, health, and mercy so we can attend and participate in this event without any obstacles. Praise and salutation upon our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the best figure of this universe, the person who was able to save us from Jahiliyah era. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. At this seminar, I will deliver a speech regarding Tahlilan, the history of the birth of Tahlilan in death ceremonies, the first pioneers and openers of broadcasting and developing Islam on the island of Java were the 9 scholars or mubalighs, popularly known as the Wali Songo. Due to their struggle, their success in establishing the first Islamic kingdom in Java, centered in Demak, Central Java. The 9 scholars in broadcasting and developing Islam in Java, where the majority of the population is Hindu and Buddhist, had difficulty in discarding the custom of old religions ceremonies for those who had converted to Islam. The 9 scholars or Wali Songo in dealing with the problems of old custom for those who have converted to Islam are divided into 2 schools, namely the Kiri Flow and the Tuban Flow. The Kiri Flow was a school led by Raden Paku, with supporters Raden Rahmat, Sharifuddin, and others. This sect in matters of worship was totally uncompromising with Buddhism, Hinduism, animist belief, and dynamism. People who voluntarily enter Islam through this sect must be willing to throw away all old customs that conflict with Islam. Sharia without reserve because of the purity of the sect in broadcasting and developing Islam. This sect is called White Islam. The Tuban Flow was a school led by R.M. Shahid, who was supported by Sunan Bonang, Sunan Muria, Sunan Kudus, and Sunan Gunung Jati. This sect is very moderate. They led their followers who do the custom of the old religious ceremonies that have been ingrained difficult to dispose of. The important thing is that they want to embrace Islam, so that they do not deviate too far from Islamic law. So the guardians of the Tuban sect try to make the customs of the Buddhism, Hinduism, animism, and dynamism colored by Islam. Because of the moderation of this sect, its followers were far more numerous than the followers of the radical Kiri sect, Islamic Sharia with other religions. Thus, this sect is labeled as an Abangan Islamic sect. During the time of the saints under the leadership of Sunan Ampel, a deliberation was held between the saints to resolve the old custom for people who had converted to Islam. In that deliberation, Sunan Kalijaga, as the head of the Tuban sect, proposed to the deliberation council that the old customs that were difficult to discard, including the Pindah Pitraya Jenazah ceremony, be incorporated into Islamic element. This proposal became a serious problem at the time because the ulama or guardians know very well that the old customary death ceremony and others were very different from the true teaching of Islam. Hearing Sunan Kalijaga's diplomatic proposal, Sunan Ampel, as the head of the guardians at the time and at the same time the chairman of the session or deliberation, asked the following question. Is it not feared that in the future that the old custom will be considered as Islamic teachings, so that if so will this not make bid'ah? Sunan Ampel's question was then answered by Sunan Kudus as follows. I strongly agree with Sunan Kalijaga's opinion. Even so, Sunan Ampel, Sunan Kiri, and Sunan Derajat strongly disagreed, but the majority of the members of the deliberation agreed to Sunan Kalijaga's proposal. So it went according to his wish. From then on, officially based on the result of the deliberation, the Hindu ceremony called Pinda Pitrayajana was preserved by the Muslim of the Tuban sects, which later became known as Nelung Dino, Mitung Dino, Matang Dino, Nyatus, and Nyew. As a result of the softening of the Tuban sects, not only did such ceremonies flourish, but animist and dynamist belief and other traditional ceremonies also flourished. Therefore, it is not surprising that Sunan Kalijaga's our student, Sayyid Jihan, felt that he had a very free opportunity to integrate Hinduism into Islam from the result of the processing clinic teaching or belief stream that smell of Islam was born, and so grow what is called Manunggaling Kaula Gusti, which means God merges with my body. So the procedures to get closer to God through prayer, fasting, zakat, haji, and so on do not need to be done. The state of the Muslims after the Guardians' death was increasingly far from the true teachings of Islam. The Gir school clerics who continue to influence the Islamic kings in particular and the community in general fought for Islamic Sharia, received criticism and threat from the Islamic kings at the time, because the majority of Islamic kings adhered to the Tuban school, so that the center of royal government in Demak tried to be moved to Pajang in order to escape the influence of the scholar of the Gir school. This situation continued for centuries without any scholars appearing to erode to old customs attached to Islam. Especially the Pinda Pitrayajana. It was only in 1912 AD that a cleric apart in Yogyakarta named Kyai Haji Ahmad Dahlan who tried his best to restore Islam from its source, namely the Quran and As-Sunnah, because he had seen that Islam in Indonesian society had been heavily interfered with various teachings that did not come from the Quran and Al-Hadith. Everywhere rampant khurafat and bid'ah, so that Muslims live in a conservative and traditional state. The emergence of Kyai Haji Ahmad Dahlan not only tried to erode all the customs of Buddhism, Hinduism, animism, dynamism attached to Islam, but also spread talk of renewal in Islam so that Muslims become an advanced people like other nations. However, oddly enough, his friends was greeted negatively by some of the scholars themselves, who turned out to be scholars who did not agree to discard some Buddhism and Hindu customs that had been colored by Islam that had been preserved by the scholars of the Tuban sect in the past, which include the Pinda Pitrayajana ceremony, which was filled with the breath of Islam, what was known as the Nelung Dino, Mitung Dino, Matang Dino, Nyatus, and Nyew ceremony. In accordance with the history of the birth of Tahlilan in that ceremonies, the term Tahlilan in that ceremonies is only known in Java, not other islands throughout Indonesia. This event does not exist. Even if it exists, it is only a seaback from Java. Moreover, in other countries such as Arabia, Egypt, and other countries around the world, Tahlilan in that ceremonies are not recognized at all. By knowing the history of the birth of Tahlilan in the that ceremony described above, then we will no longer say that the death ceremony is an Islamic teaching. Even we will be able to say that people who do not want to This Kartu ceremony means preserving one of the teachings of Hinduism. The Tahlilan ceremony in Indonesian society, especially NU, has become an established or prevalent culture or prevalence. If someone dies and is not tahlili, the community view it as an animal death, view it as the death of an animal. Wong mati yen ora ditahlili kaya matine kebau utawa kucing. Which means if a dead person is not prayed for, it is the same as the death of a cow or cat. The next implication is that the family of the deceased who does not hold the Tahlilan ceremony is not considered as Ahlus Sunnah wal Jamaah. In its implementation, the Tahlilan rite is divided into two types. Tahlilan ordinary and Tahlil Kubra. Tahlil Kubra is a Tahlilan activity in which the participants involve a large number of community members and are attended by bhikkhu from various countries and attended by bhikkhu from various cities. While in the term of the place it is usually Tahlil Kubra is a Tahlilan activity in which the participants involve many people and are attended by bhikkhu from various cities. While in the term of the place, it is usually held in a city square or a large field or in the pesantren environment. In this activity, there is usually additional content. As for the ordinary tahlilan, it is generally held with a limited number of people and purely to pray for the deceased so that they will receive forgiveness and all their deeds of worship will be granted by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. All his deeds of worship are granted by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. The Tahlilan recitation starts with the tawassul to the Prophet Muhammad SAW and his family and all his followers. All his followers, the ancestors of the congregation who come and then finally to the deceased. After that, the recitation of Surah Al-Ikhlas, Surah Al-Falaq, Surah An-Nas, and the recitation of other verses of the Quran, Salawat, Tasbih, Tahmid, La ilaha illallah, and ending with a prayer. Syekh Nabawi al-Batani explained that the determination of the day to give a meal or almsgiving, banquet meal or almsgiving meal for guests who are visiting or praying for the deceased according to the culture. Who did in accordance with the culture? Even Sayyid Ahmad Dahlan has considered it a custom among the Muslim community to give alms on the third day, 7th day, 20, 40, and 100th day. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal is of the opinion that giving charity for 7 days is sunnah because it is a prayer for the deceased, who is being tasked for 7 days in the grave. For this reason, therefore, the Salaf recommend giving charity on this day. Imam al-Suyuti also said that the tradition of giving charity for 7 days is a sunnah action that has been practiced since the Salaf. I think that's all my speech. I hope it is useful for you all. I'm sorry for any words or behavior that's unpleasing your heart. Thank you very much for the occasion and your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.